Pravadanti na panditaha ekamapyastithas samyag ubhayor vindate phalam padapataha. Sankhya, analytical study of the material world. Yoga, work in devotional service. Pritak, different. Balaha, the less intelligent. Pravadanti, say. Na, never. Panditaha, the learned. Ekam, in one. Api, even. Astitaha, astitaha, being situated. Samyak, complete. Ubayoho, of both. Vindate, enjoys. Phalam, the result. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Only the ignorant speak of devotional service, karma yoga, as being different from the analytical study of the material world, Sankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves the results of both. Purport. The aim of the analytical study of the material world is to find the soul of existence. Excuse me. A little more comfortable with these reading glasses here. The soul of the material world is Vishnu, or the super soul. Devotional service to the Lord entails service to the super soul. One process is to find the root of the tree, and the other is to water the root. The real student of Sankhya philosophy finds the root of the material world, Vishnu, and then in perfect knowledge engages himself in the service of the Lord. Therefore, in essence, there is no difference between the two, because the aim of both is Vishnu. Those who do not know the ultimate end say that the purposes of Sankhya and Karma Yoga are not the same, but one who is learned knows the unifying aim in these different processes. Hare Krishna. So Sankhya means the study of the material elements. So there are basic elements, Prithvi, Akash, Jal, Agni, Vayu. The earth, water, fire, air, and sky. Also known as the gross elements, Stula, Prakriti, the energy of the Lord that is gross elements. And then there's the Sukshma Prakriti, that is Man, Buddhi, Ahankar. So that is mentioned here in Gita, Bhumir aponalo vayu kammano buddhire bacha. Ahankaram iti amme bhinna prakritir ashtada. My eight energies, bhinna, separated from me. So these eight energies, 5 of them are gross and 3 are subtle. Subtle means they cannot be seen, but they can be understood to exist. So analyzing them even in greater detail is called Sankhya. Sankhya philosophy is one of the 6 philosophies that came out of the Vedas, that were expounded by different rishis, sages. So Mimamsa Shastra is the philosophy of Varnashram Dharma, specifically the duties of performing yajna by brahmanas. And there's Nyaya Sutras, logic. Sankhya philosophy was propounded by Jaimini, who's a disciple of Vyasa. And then Nyaya Gautama, Vaisheshika, Kanada, Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which is quite well known. And then Vedanta Sutra of Vyasa himself. One is missing, Sankhya. Mimamsa, Yoga, Vaisheshika, Nyaya, Vedanta and Sankhya. Shad Darshanas they're called, the 6 philosophies. So in the Sankhya philosophy written by Kapila, although it is based on the Vedas, his ultimate analysis is that there is no Ishvara. So he's called the atheistic Kapila. Kapila avatar mentioned in the Bhagavatam is a different personality than the Kapila who compiled the Sankhya Sutras. But the idea that Sankhya is a study of material elements is the same. Now, what is the study of material elements? Today it's called science. Today it is called science. So science has many branches: modern science, biology, physics, chemistry, what else? Biology, physics, chemistry, well, there are other, botany and zoology and so on and so forth. But these are the main 3 branches: chemistry, physics, and biology. So modern scientists trying to understand what is the material world. Now here, the understanding is being given, the knowledge is being given, or the advice is being given by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, that ultimately you have to come to Vishnu. Well, Prabhupada mentions in the purport, in the verse itself, Vishnu is not mentioned. But by performing karma yoga, which is giving up the fruit of one's activity to the Lord Krishna, or by engaging in scientific study of material elements, Prabhupada's explanation, which is based on the explanation of Purva Acharyas like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vidyabhushan, is that the aim is the same, that is to arrive at Vishnu. He is the cause of the material elements. Now, someone may say, well, it's just a waste of time, just engage in devotion to Vishnu. Why should we study the material elements? Well, the reason is that the material elements are fascinating to thousands and thousands of human beings. And those human beings have no knowledge of Vishnu. And so if they study them properly, and if they reach the proper conclusion, it may not be the name of Vishnu, but it's Ishvara. Ishvara is a controller, the Lord of the material world. Vishnu means all-pervading. Vyapnoti iti Vishnu. So when you come to the conclusion of studying science, the conclusion is that there's a supreme controller, supreme Lord. And so we see that a number of modern scientists also came to this conclusion, that there's a creator of the world. Why is it important? Well, human life has to have some purpose. And so, without engaging in bhakti and devotion to the Supreme Lord, then simply exploring material nature without a conclusion is a waste of the human form of life. So they may carry out their studies, and if they come to the conclusion that there's no Ishvara, Anishwarvad, then they haven't studied properly, they've come to the wrong conclusion, and they don't know what's the purpose of life. So it's a waste of the human form of life. So when one comes to that conclusion, whatever power he has, whatever ability that one has, he would engage that ability, that power in the service of the Lord. So there are different examples of devotees engaging in the service of the Lord in different ways. So every devotee may not be like Hanuman, who has so many powers, or even Arjuna or Bhima. They had extraordinary powers. Every devotee may not have these extraordinary powers. In fact, even in the material world we see so many devotees, thousands and thousands, and some of them are very simple people. They have no idea what is the Vedic philosophy. They don't know how to perform sacrifices. They may even, they may not even be able to study Gita. But if they endeavor to engage in some kind of seva, some kind of service to the Lord, so their soul will be benefited. That's the point. What will happen to the soul? So Gita says in another place, Urdhvam gachanti sattvasta. Those who are situated in the mode of goodness, they go up. So if the aim is to get liberation from the repetition of birth and death, one needs to go up. So in order to go up, one has to become sattvic. One has to situate himself in goodness. So how is that possible? So Gita explains in another place, there are 3 types of food, 3 types of faith. Different activities are divided by according to these gunas, the mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. So if one wants to be elevated, he has to, all across the board, whatever he eats should be in the mode of goodness. Then, food is one thing important, no doubt. Faith, worship. Worship is described in Gita that if you worship the devatas, you're in the mode of goodness, the demigods. And if you worship other human beings, you're in the mode of passion. And if you worship ghosts and spirits, you're in the mode of ignorance. So we see that in the material world there's personality cultism. People worship other persons. Political leaders are worshipped. That's probably the most common type of, personality cult worship. Sports figures, actors, right? People worship different persons who are famous in business, businessmen, right? There's a list of the richest businessmen. Oh. And people worship them. They have clubs where they praise each other. Oh, Mr. So-and-so is such a wonderful person. Right? What are they called? The Lions Club, the Rotary Club. There's probably thousands of other clubs. Those clubs are famous in the English-speaking world, and they've spread to India. So in those clubs, they indulge in worshipping other persons, in a sense. They may not perform an arati like we perform arati to Krishna, but they're worshipping them. Oh, he's such a wonderful, charitable man. He's done so many things for the society. This goes on and on. Political leaders, of course, have so many followers. They yell their names, whoever it is. All over the world, same thing. There may be democracy or there may be autocracy. Doesn't matter. They worship other persons. So they're in the mode of passion. So, urdvam gachanti sattvasta, those who are situated in the mode of goodness go up. Madhye tishtanti rajasaha. So those who worship other persons or eat rajasic food or have a rajasic faith, they give donation, dhanam. That's also described. There are 3 types of charity. Those who do charity in the mode of passion. So all of their activities are centered on passion. So madhye tishtanti, they remain in the middle. Rajasaha, those in the mode of passion. Adho gachanti tamasaha, those who are in the mode of good ignorance, they go down. So who is in the mode of ignorance? Those who eat abominable food that's in the mode of ignorance. Those who worship ghosts and spirits. Those who give charity to unfit persons who should not be given charity. We see a lot of beggars here in Vrindavan. Begging is a big industry here. And what do they do with their charity? Nothing, basically. They maintain their body. And they get some pleasure, drinking tea, smoking bidi. That's part of... Here you see these sadhus in a huge line to get free tea in the morning. It's very common here. So those persons, we see, they're not engaged in study of Shastras. They're not engaged in the other activities in the mode of goodness. But mainly their aim is to sleep and eat. So most of them are in the mode of ignorance. If you take intoxicants like tea of course is not the worst intoxicant, we agree. There are much worse intoxicants. Many of these tea drinking sadhus, they also smoke ganja, or they may eat it. In fact, this ganja grows here in this state in quite a few places. And here in Uttar Pradesh, it's very popular. It's very ancient. It's been going on for thousands of years. But according to Gita, it is tamasic. It induces ignorance. So those who indulge in that, they'll go down. Adho, adaha. Adaha means down. Gachanti, they go. Tamasaha, those who are in the mode of ignorance. So you have goodness, passion, ignorance. So those who study Sankhya, engage in the scientists. In the past, they were philosophers. Scientists, we see a lot of scientists are also philosophers. When one uses his intelligence to try and understand what is life, atato brahma jigyasa, or Atato Dharma Jigyasa is the this Mimamsa Sutra, first sutra of Mimamsa. Jignasa means inquiry, inquisitiveness. Inquisitiveness usually leads to goodness, usually leads to the mode of goodness. So it's encouraged to. There's another verse in Gita, Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. There is nothing more purifying than knowledge. So that knowledge of the material world, if it leads to the understanding that the root of the material world is Ishvara, God, Vishnu, all-pervading supreme power, that is even beyond goodness. Shuddha Sattva, pure goodness. So some people may come to that understanding and some may not. So we have to understand that those who come to this understanding will be free from the repetition of birth and death. They will go up. Urdvam gachanti sattvasta. And those who don't come to the conclusion that karma yoga, like it says here, karma yoga and Sankhya yoga, Sankhya philosophy, lead to understanding Vishnu, then they have to come back. So they can come back in a human body, madhye tishtanti rajasaha, or they may go down adho gachanti tamasaha. So we see there are so many species of life. Now when the rain comes, this is rainy season, we see a lot of insects, flies, mosquitoes, lots of insects that we don't know. We only see them for, a short period of time. There are jivas, they're alive. Where did they come from? Then all of the plants, the vanaspatis, the plants, trees, vegetables, they're all alive. There's a soul there, a jiva. But that jiva is being punished, just like someone is punished in the jail. So in the jail he may reside for a month or 1 year, and there are people that reside in the jail for 50 years, isn't it? What was his name? He expired. Nelson Mandela became famous, right, all over the world. He was in jail for 27 years, right? It's a long time to be in a jail. Now the jivas that are in the trees, or all of these trees and plants, it's a prison sentence. It's a jivatma, a living entity that is put mudha yoni shujayate. It's explained in the Gita that those who go down, those who are sinful, what is that? Asurim yonim apanna mudha janmani janmani. Those who are asuras, in the mode of ignorance, I throw them into mudha yoni. That means a womb of ignorance, where someone is foolish, mudha. So that foolishness is a tree, right? Or a vegetable. Vegetable life is not so long, but a tree, there are some trees that live for hundreds of years. So that's a jail sentence for a jiva. And then, what if that jail is in, say, Siberia, right? Where its whole year is freezing. So to live there as a tree for many, many years is a great punishment. You see, so the seriousness of the issue, one who has a human body and a human brain has been given a special type of intelligence. Now it should be used so that that type of a punishment can be avoided, isn't it? But instead, human society wants some temporary pleasures. Most of the human beings Prabhupada in one place, he said that the bodies are just dead bodies flapping. That was a comment he made, I read recently. So people are living, but if they're living like a tree, if they're living like an animal, a bird or whatever, so it's a waste of the opportunity. If someone gives you a large amount of money, you wouldn't say, no, I'll take it later. That's foolishness. So the human body is like that. It's valuable, like a large amount of money. But when we have the human body, we should use the intelligence, God-given intelligence, to get out of material entanglement. So how is that possible? Yoga. So Patanjali says, yoga is for meditation on the absolute truth. But when you finally reach the absolute truth, what is it? What's the aim of the meditation? So we say it is Vishnu. And we say, but a lot of Shastras also say that. Vedas, Puranas, Valmiki Ramayana, Mahabharata. So Vedic literatures also say the aim of all of this study, the aim of all of the yoga is to come to Vishnu and engage in the service of Vishnu. So that service is continuous. It doesn't stop. It's not that, well, the service is part-time. Service is supposed to be full-time. How is that? So one has to use his mind, his body, his intelligence to engage in that service. Well, what is the service? Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. Thinking about Vishnu or glorifying Vishnu. Kirtanam means the glorifying Vishnu. When you do Hare Krishna Kirtan, you're crying out to Vishnu, to Krishna. Sambodhan. If one understands the basic grammar of Sanskrit, Samskrita Vyakaranam, so their words take different forms according to the usage of the word. Instead of adding a verb, Rama saw Sita in English, but Ramena Sita Pashyati, Ramaha Sita Pashyati. Rama saw Sita. So Hare, Krishna, Rama, we're chanting, is a sambodhan, calling out. So Prabhupada said it's like a child crying for the mother. So we fell in the material world. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddho. We fell into this material world. How we came here, we don't remember. But we're here. And we're helpless. That's also a fact. We're helpless, but we have our intelligence. So even a baby has intelligence, because when the baby cries, then the mother knows when to feed the baby. So by chanting Hare Krishna, we're calling attention to our helpless position of a soul fallen into the material world, the repetition of birth and death that makes the world so miserable. Anityam asukam lokam imam prapsya bhajasva mam. You have come here, now worship me. Somehow or other we've come here. We don't know how. So we should use this opportunity. But we can also see that most of the human beings will not use the opportunity. Most of them will not. But our duty as Vaishnavas, devotees of Vishnu, is to enlighten the ignorant by our activities. Sankirtan is one of those activities. Distributing the Gita, knowledge of the Gita, lecturing on the Gita, reading the Bhagavad, reading all the other Puranas. And for children, they should study the Vedas, especially Brahmana, Kshatriya and Vaishya. But if it's not by birth, then anyone could study. But if they don't have the aptitude for studying the Vedas, then they should understand that they're Shudras. Then they should serve others. Paricharyatmakam karma. Service to others. And Brahmanas, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas, they have their duties. But they are authorized. Their dharma is to study the Vedic Shastras. And Brahmanas teach the Vedic Shastras. Kshatriyas and Vaishyas study Vedic Shastras, but they may not teach it. But Brahmana duty is to always teach Vedic literature to others. So that's an activity that's part of the Vedic concept of life. And those who don't accept the Vedic concept of life, for them there's no guidance. They act whimsically. They can do anything. Then they don't care where they're born. They don't care if they go up, they go down, they stay here. So that is symptomatic of action in the mode of passion and ignorance, tamasic and rajasic activity. So that's unfortunate that they don't utilize this gift of the human body. Otherwise, yeah, you can be a tree, a bird. Some people understand that, but they don't care. Some don't understand it at all. They're totally ignorant. So there are different types of human beings. Those who are enlightened, those who are ignorant, and those who are indifferent. So there are three types of devotees. One is the beginning devotee. He only is concerned with himself. He doesn't care about anyone else. And he doesn't show proper respect and regard to other devotees. Only the deity. You see people come and worship the deities. A lot of people come to this temple. And all temples. Vrindavan is a place people come for temples. They want to have a darshan of the deities. That is good because it's an introduction to devotion. But then their behavior, they don't care about other devotees. They're selfish. So they don't mind insulting other people, pushing, shoving. We see all this and it's wondering why this is going on in these temples. That people are selfish, they only care about themselves, they don't care about other devotees. Because they're Kanishta devotees. They may be older in age, but they're not advanced in bhakti. Just because someone is old, but he may be, Ravana. Ravana was learned in Shastras. Ajamil was learned in Shastras. But they became papacharis, sinful rascals, isn't it? I'm not equating everyone with Ravana and Ajamil, but it's an extreme example. But there are many Kanishta devotees. They archayam eva haraye pujyam yaha shradaye hate nacha bhakteshu chanyeshu sabhakta prakrita smritaha. In Bhagavatam, this verse is there that they're prakrita bhaktas, materialistic devotees. So in Vrindavan you see thousands of such people. They're devotees. Bihari Lal ki jai. Bihari Lal ki jai. Right? In a group, they all jai, jai, jai. But their behavior is materialistic, selfish. And a Madhyam Bhakta, a preacher, I'm forgetting the verse. He, Maitri, Kripa, what is that? Maitri, Kripa, I'm forgetting the... He makes friends with the other devotees. Maitri, Kripa, Upeksha. He keeps away from materialistic people. He makes friends with devotees. And he sees the difference. He sees the differences between the Lord, the devotee, the ignorant, and the atheist. So that's a Madhyama Bhakta. So a Madhyama Bhakta will preach to the ignorant. And those who are atheists, you cannot preach to them. But you preach to the ignorant, try and make them devotee. And then the Uttama Bhakta, he thinks he's the most fallen. And he's always thinking of the Lord. He's thinking of nothing else. And he's shows respect to others, but thinks everyone is a devotee. He sees the soul. He doesn't see the covering. So these three types of devotees are there. Back to the verse where it says that Prabhupada calls karma yoga bhakti. Karma means to give up the fruit of your action. So Brahman, Kshatriya and Vaishya may have some wealth. Shudras are not supposed to have wealth. Nowadays Shudras have wealth. Previously Shudras were slaves. They were not paid. They're not paid a salary. Modern society has a new type of slavery. You pay them, but they work like slaves. And they misuse the money. They have wealth, so they spend the money for tamasic things. Non-vegetarian food, alcohol, drugs, and other materialistic pleasures in the mode of ignorance or passion. They misuse their wealth. Dhanam, there are three types of charity. So those who are in the mode of ignorance, they may give charity to activities that are in the mode of ignorance. And those who are in the mode of passion, they may make political contributions, isn't it? How many people give money to political parties in this democratic setup? Crores and crores of rupees, or millions of dollars or pounds or wherever you are, euros, whatever the money is called. They donate to political causes. That's charity in the mode of passion. Charity in the mode of ignorance, to help someone who's in the mode of ignorance, is charity in the mode of ignorance. Or to do something to help, or just to throw the money, to give it to people who will also spend it for activities in the mode of ignorance. So these things we have to take into consideration. You're giving up the fruit of your work. What are you giving it up for? But if you're giving it for the Lord, if you're doing the service of Vishnu, then it's in the mode of goodness, or even beyond goodness. But here specifically, Sankhya Yoga Prithak Bala Pravadanti na Panditaha Ekam Apyastitha Samyag Ubhayor Vindate Phalam. Ubhayaha means two different things, two things. First, Sankhya is described, but then two things. So because the chapter, the adhyaya is about karma yoga, the fruit, giving up the fruit of your action to link with God. So it has to be done in the mode of goodness, at least to link with God. Otherwise, how can you link with God? Not possible. I'll stop here. If there's any questions, we have 5 minutes. Hare Krishna. Less than 5. It's 6:30 is the end. Any question? Nothing?
You are very well, sir. You are Very well said.
Thank you, but there should be some questions. Hare Krishna there. It's okay. If there's no question, thank you for listening. And thank the organizers, whoever they are, for giving me the opportunity to sit here. And the viewers, I think most of them are outside of the room. No, it's okay. The camera means it's probably being broadcast. YouTube. Oh, I see, it'll come later. Thank you for your time and attention. You can also contact me by email, vasughoshdas@gmail.com. If anyone watching this broadcast has a question, I'll be happy to answer.